Yeah, give it one more minute and then we're going to go, I think.
Mm, it's fine by me.
Okay, so welcome everybody. Uh, this is a an interview that will run for about 60 minutes, or the session will run for about 60 minutes, and it's people with real lived experience and wisdom to share. And this is today is with Mira Petrova. I will pass over to Mira in a little while. I just wanted to firstly just tell you a little bit about me. I've had a background in food and drink for the last 8 years. I've had my own export consultancy where I've been building brands overseas. And then the last couple of years, I've also set up a coaching stroke mentoring business called Mind Me Wellbeing. And that stems from a coaching course that I did. I now do work with Help to Grow, where I mentor people, and I also do that through Digital Boost, and I'm also part of Expertise. And so the reason why I cover those organisations because they also present opportunities if you're in that space of wanting to coach, mentor, and help people. They are organisations that you can also work with. And then if I just talk about why I set up real life experience, it was very much about the when we grow up, everything's like super exciting. It's like a play park. We kind of run around and we race to the slide, we race to the swings, and as we kind of get older, we go to a bigger play park, and that play park is in some ways a lot more scary in terms of we're taking on much more responsibility for ourselves. We are dealing with going into careers, exams, tests of all sorts, and that is a journey in itself, and it can be scary at times. It's fulfilling at times as well, but it can be quite scary. And certainly, I was very proud when I was younger, and I was always determined to really work it out for myself. But I think life, as you take on more responsibilities, you go up through your career, you get married, you get children, you have mortgages. There's a lot more demand on you, and I would certainly what I felt as the years passed. I don't think I could do it on my own, and that's where learning from others, being exposed to others, having a coach, having a mentor, it made a huge difference. I kind of, if I think back to a couple of quotes, I met a lady called Jan Allen a little while ago, and she said something that really struck a chord with me. I was not born to drudge through life. And there are times when I've drudged through life, and that is not the way to live. And I think by having insights from other people, that's part of it. And John Scully's quote of enjoying the journey is something that I only really started doing after I got coaching, mentoring, and got life experiences. And so part of today and the reason for real lived experience is to share that with or other people's wisdom and experiences with a wider audience, so they can take some of those learnings too. So I'm just going to sort of talk about Myra very briefly in that. Mara and I met through a growth accelerator, Dent Growth Accelerator, and we probably started off. We didn't really know each other that well, did we, Mara?
No, we
No,
did, but it was like, yeah, connecting like we always did.
yeah, yeah. So it was a little indirectly, but what really struck me about Myra was that when I started seeing her posts, there was something really quite. So first of all, they connected with me, and secondly, I thought they were really deep, and actually. told things in a different way, and in a really insightful way, and with a tone that I kind of really liked. So which then kind of leads me on to Mira, is actually, who are you and where are you from?
Well, I'm Lubomira, for those who are wondering how to pronounce my name, but because people fear butchering my name, I'll tell them, call me just Mira or Myra. How do you like it? So I come from Bulgaria, and I live in the beautiful capital, Sofia. For those who are trying to search for a globe right now, it's in Europe. It's on the black. You need to search for the Black Sea, which is southeastern Europe, and Bulgaria is beside the sea. So we have seas, mountains, we have everything. We have also hills and plateaus. So it's very beautiful. Our country is very, very beautiful, and everyone who I know who visited likes it. And we are kind of a chill, like people who like to welcome strangers because we are curious.
Fantastic, fantastic. And I mean, it's, we don't necessarily know your country that well, and I know there's a story there, which maybe is for another time. But what about your story? What's your story from, growing up as like Myra, excited by the world, and then as you've sort of grown up, and gone into careers, etc. What's that story?
Well, it's a long one, but it was shaped also partly from the transitioning that my country, Bulgaria, also experienced. So, for those who don't know, I will just leave a small crash history lesson. Bulgaria was once under the influence of Russia. We were a communist country in the past, and we had a difficult period where we transitioned after the fall of the Berlin Wall in the West, and communism just broke, and we needed to go to be a democratic country, which was difficult. We were having a political and economic and bank crisis for a long time, and that shaped my family a lot because my father was an entrepreneur. He had his own business. My mother has had her private dentist practice, which is also something that you don't have in communism, by the way. In communism, everything is run by the state, and you are an employee of the state. And those instances when somebody goes to do something on his own were actually very rare, and most of the time not really valued and not really seen as good. So that's normal. And in this time, it was stressful. It's stressful for both my parents and my father. That was the first time he actually had really financial challenges and emotional challenges that because of the bank crisis that erupted, and we almost lost everything. So it was difficult to rebuild after that for him. And yeah, I noticed how stress reflected his work. He was working long hours. I wasn't seeing him very much, only in the night before I go to bed, if I have the luck that he get home earlier. But it was stressful, and it was actually the first time he had developed problems with the heart. And now, from my experience, I know that the constant stress he was experiencing was leading to his heart problems, which every entrepreneur is exposed to because we are not used to deal with that lot of stress in one day and all constantly without recovering. Like somebody said, stress is not the problem. It's the problem that there's a missing recovery. And in our culture, in our communistic culture, to be successful meant to be working, to be constantly working well, being perfect. And that's what my parents did. And the thing is, it caused a lot of trouble. And there is where my why I do what I do was born. I wanted people just to be happy and to be connected, because I noticed that stress created those tensions in the relationship with your close ones. So that was my why for a long time, and it's still my why today, even though I focus my work now on entrepreneurs. And at the same time, I started learning about techniques how to manage this stress. And what is stress? I didn't know that. I was 10 years old at that time. And yeah, that connected me to personal development and also to Eastern practices, which I draw a lot of inspiration and wisdom from. And I test always my experiences on myself and then transfer it as tools for my clients to use. For those wondering, I'm not the typical spiritual person you will meet. I'm combining rationality and emotion and spirituality to explain things, and that's my strength. Because people who are very rational and try to explain emotions with logic have difficulty covering that, and I can help them transition in this regard. What they did learn from the Eastern practices was the basics of how I teach what I teach, or how I coach, more to say. The ways I do it. I have a sense. I'm very sensible and very empathetic person. I can sense emotions, which helps me connect to people. And I use that in my coaching to push my clients out of their comfort zone, but in a way that's not threatening, and they feel safe and they can explore and grow over this horizon. That helps them become who they want to be, to achieve what they want to achieve. And that's the main reason for the successes my clients have. And all this philosophical thing come really from these instant practices. I've practiced yoga in school for a long time, and when I came to be a student in Germany, which also shaped me, I've practiced martial arts. The one is Karate Do, I still practice it, and the other one is Katori Shinto Ryu, which is combination of sword techniques and also strategy in fighting. So both shaped how I approach also challenges and how I push myself to become more resilient and better. What I noticed, what also shaped my desire to help people change and transform, is actually a friend of mine from med school. She was a very brilliant student, very clever. She was top of class as well, and but she had this kind of aura of her that she didn't let other people close, because she was feeling actually insecure. She was overweight, and she didn't fit in the pretty standard of a girl at that time. I didn't fit as well, but I'm not that overweight like she was, and she was rejected from the class, so to speak. But we lived on the same street, and we walked together after school, and we talked. And I talked with her, I encouraged her to that there is change, that she can change her appearance, that she can become who she wants to become. And we separated after the 7th grade, which is normal in our school system. After the 7th grade, you go to the next school, to high school in this regard. And we didn't see each other for 1 year or 2. And when we met, well, I was hearing about other friends from her, about her, and that they explained me she changed a lot. Like, you cannot recognize her, and I was like, okay, interesting. And there it comes the one day on the airport of Cologne in Germany, where I was landing with the airplane and minding my own business because I was studying abroad in Germany. And I hear somebody call my name over the whole hall, and I spot her. I spot a person first that I didn't recognize, to be honest, but I recognized her on her because of her voice. She was completely different person. She was like slim, beautiful. She had also a boyfriend behind her, and she was really, really happy. And she told me that day, I changed because of you. If it weren't for you, I won't become who I was. And I was a little bit mind blown because the only thing that I thought I did for her is motivate her and encourage her to try. But obviously, our conversations, as deep as they went, were helpful for her to transform and to change her mindset. And after I needed to search for my purpose and connect it to coaching, I remembered this very, very moment, which was pretty precious and was actually the decision that made me connect to coaching. And the last bit of my life, which brought me to what I do today, is experiencing burnout, like very severe burnout in 2022. The story goes like this. After I studied in Germany, which I studied archaeology, I wasn't a business person by any means. I got back into my country, and one position in the company of my father became vacant, of the salesperson and office manager, and I got there. And that's how I got into the company of my father. And for 4 years, I learned a trade all by myself. And after that, I became the owner of the company after my father retired. But then came COVID. All of my family got COVID, and sadly, my father passed away because he couldn't manage that. And he had another business which also felt on my shoulders, with the responsibility for the family and also the expectations that I need to become him. And I need to take his position in the family and in the businesses and drive everything. So you can imagine somebody who is a woman in a male environment, working in a male environment, taking the position of a father in the family and also in businesses. And you're torn apart between what you want and what you feel obliged to do, because that's what came to you. That's the thing that's expected from you. And I was like, okay, I tried. I really tried. I tried hard 2 years, and everything fell apart. Because interestingly, research shows the body can last only 18 months of constant stress before it tells you to stop. Some people went into the hospital, which is not a good thing. Like the ex-husband of my sister did the same thing, and he landed into the hospital. I was lucky that I didn't, which I'm thankful for. But I was on my lowest point. I was also mentally very unstable for my experience. And I was like, well, if I go further like this, I will lose myself. I can forget to live. And this was the point where I was like, you need to do something about it. And this experience, recovering 1.5 years from burnout, from this severe burnout, my health was very terrible. as well, mental, physical, you name it. I started recovering slowly, and everything I did in this time, and everything I tried was based on those years when I learned, when I connected to Eastern practices, when I focused on personal development. I just utilized every bit that could help me do this in a small way because I was so overwhelmed and so tired, but effectively. That was my point. And after a while, I came back and I focused on the business, the same business that I became the owner of. And one day, very nice day, I was sitting on my bureau and I was planning to expand my customer base, to have a very focused. We were selling post solutions for small businesses and entrepreneurs, and focus on the complete post solution for the business, everything. And I was planning. I was happy. I was excited because I wanted to make this business profitable, but also the business to make people happy and make businesses successful. That was my idea back then. But on this day, something felt off, and a part of me was, that's not what you're supposed to do. Like, it didn't click anymore. I was very, very confused, and I sat there staring at my notes and not understanding why it felt so wrong to continue planning and to go this route, because I wanted it actually so much. But what I noticed is that I was actually chasing the dream of my father. I was just continuing his path and wanting to make a successful business. He didn't have these high aspirations, but it transferred somehow to me, and I was wanted to continue with this business. But after this day, I've understood I'm done with the business. I have learned everything from the business I need to know, and I need to move on because I wanted to help people, but the business wasn't enough as a tool anymore for me. Even though I turned it around, it started to become profitable after COVID, but still it wasn't connecting at any point with me. And it was sad. I was also scared to do this thing because I was like, my father entrusted me with this business, and what I'm doing now, I'm closing it. And I'm like, it was a difficult decision to do. But I did it in the end, and it brought me to searching for my purpose, to the bigger thing. What can I do to help more people and use my talents for that? And I remember that was February 2023. I've heard about life coaching from an interview from Simon Alexander Ong and Ali Abdaal. It was between both of them. For those who don't know Simon is a professional speaker and life coach. He is great, by the way. He does this deep transformational coaching that I also do for my clients. And yeah, something clicked by the interview. And at the end, I was researching what is coaching. And months later, I got into Noble Manhattan, which is a coaching organization that trains life coaches and life and executive coaches. And yeah, from there, I became a life coach. Besides having a second business of my father and still operating this as well. But I wanted to build something on my own, from my own.
Oh, excellent. I mean, that's the story and a half. It's a story and a half. And there's so much learning and experiences and that real roller coaster as well. And certainly getting burnt out. I've been there as well, and it's a difficult place. It's like going into Dante's Inferno.
Yeah.
And so tell me a little bit about your magic, because you kind of almost touched on it a little bit in terms of obviously with this friend that you met at Bonn Airport years later, you had an impact on her that enabled her to find her way forward. Just tell me a little bit about those like magic traits that you had as a young Myra to where you are now, and just how you kind of navigated that. And then, what are those values that you strive for and the ones that you try not to have so much of, because we all have negative values or negative things that we move away from. And I guess that kind of then leads you into that real big why.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the traits, it's hard to talk about my traits because I was taught to be humble for my family, like we don't expose ourselves so much. But I can tell what my clients and my friends value in me, because I think they're the best mirror of me than me talking about myself. And what my clients and my friends value is that most of the time I'm very calm and accepting. I try to be as non-judgmental as I can, and I'm very caring and protective of others. I also don't try to impose what I know and my techniques on them, but give them a tool that they can actually use. And before I do this, most of the time I ask very specific questions, and I try to understand how they function and what works for them, so I can give them something that I have experience with, and it's more aligned to who they are, so they can use it and can try it at the moment they want to try it out, and that helps. And the other thing is what my friends value is that I'm very happy and a positive person, even in moments where everything gets hard. I still find this positivity and this hope to go on, which is also connected to my past, but it's a different story. But it's the respect of life that I have, like a one friend of mine said, you have a respect for life, and that is something that you project. So I think that's what drives me forward. And my values are very simple. I have five. I've discovered five of them that are the main ones that drive everything. That are the universal love. We have in Bulgarian we have two words for love. The one is obič and the other is lubov. I actually wore the one as a name. Lubomira comes from Lubov, so it's this. But Obic is this word when we describe as universal love, because it describes every kind of love, brotherly, sisterly, family, community, everything. Lubov does this word, which is not used that much, but it describes only this intimate love between two people. So it's a different world. That's why I say universal love, because I refer to the other word. And harmony is the second one, the second value that I have. The third one is trust. For me, trust is very important, because if you trust a person or a process, everything is fine and everything is safe, and it doesn't matter if the words fall, the word around you falls apart. You just continue. And the other one is belief. This is the belief that everything will turn out for the good or bad, whatever it is. It's just, it will happen, no matter what. And the last one is truth. I'm actually a person who wants to discover the truth of the world, like I say, without like being constructed of our own mind, like limited by our own mind and the visions and the the regulations of our culture, which is difficult because, like NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming, I use it in my coaching very often. They have this description of understanding that the world we actually see is not the real world, not the true world that we live in. Every one of us sees a different world of his own. That's this belief. And it's true, but there I think still there is a kind of reality that all are able to see, and that's what I want to learn. That's why I'm so focused on learning, growth, and knowledge. And I'm sharing this freely with others. I don't keep it for myself because I think everyone should be part of this process of growth and knowledge and discovering this truth. Not because of the truth itself, but because the discovery of it and what it does to us is what changes us. That's my belief. And for the values that I don't want to have, well, the one is that I don't want to be so self-reliant. Like I said, because of the cultural background that I have, very self-reliant, very focused on doing things alone. And there is a thing I can tell you from my experience: you miss out when you do everything on by yourself. You miss out a lot of things and a lot of good things. Um, Sometimes the connection to another person will help you make some things faster that you won't be able to do on your own. And there is also a lesson I learned from my best friend, which I want to share because I think it's important for all those self-reliant people out there who are thinking, no, I will do it by myself. I'm perfect and I can do it perfectly. Please hear me out. If you do this and you don't allow other persons to help you when they want, and they share it, they're people that genuinely want to help you and support you. If you refuse that, you hurt them. You very much hurt them, and it's painful because my best friend was watching me suffering and she wanted to help me so badly, but I was refusing her help all the time. I'd hurt her because of my self-reliance, and that's still a thing that I need to fight every day in some way or form. So that's to answer your question.
Yeah, and I can relate a lot to what you said there. And I know I've in my past been very stubborn, wanting to do it all on my own. And I think that's actually where you start to break as well, in terms of your your journey. And I think that's also life's way of telling you you can't do it all on your own. You need a little bit of guidance from outside. And as much as it's good to be autonomous, it's good to learn. And you can do that by reading. But I think having a personal touch, having someone there as a coach or a mentor in some capacity is a huge help, because they see it from a different perspective. They open things up so you can see things in a different way. And I think that's certainly what I found when I've been mentoring and coaching, and I've also seen that in terms of feedback I've got as well. So just that's probably enough of me talking. Yeah, tell me a little bit more about the coaching that you do, and why you do it in that way, and actually what is your way of doing it.
Well, my coaching is a combination of what I call, we know that there is three pillars. The one is therapy, the one is coaching, and the one is mentoring. I do a combination of the three. I don't have any certification in therapy, but I do those therapeutic deep conversations that help you break old patterns, which is very important because sometimes things from our past are just in the way of us moving forward. And sometimes We know that they are in the way, but we have no idea how to overcome them. And most of the time, you don't actually need a therapist, even though therapists are great. They have a certain specialty, and you need to go to a therapist when you need to unravel deep emotions, which are very troubling to you. But sometimes it's just a conversation about this challenge in a therapeutic way that breaks you free from this holding you back, and you can move forward. So I do that this if my clients need it. If they don't need it, I don't do it. I don't go I don't go deep if it's not necessary. If it's necessary for their growth, like for their moving forward in the direction, I do it. And that's what we call transformative coaching, because it goes under the surface of the problems. Like the things we want to reach now, like more money, more clients, more success, or more free time, are just surface level things. And they are mostly easy to reach. There are a lot of consultants you can ask for, like consult box even for them. You don't need a coach for them. You need a coach when you need this guidance in a deeper level, when you want to reach under the surface, where there are your values, there are your needs, what you actually need, what you actually dream, what you hold yourself back from. Like the reason why my friend there in mid school, she was holding herself back. She wasn't allowing herself to bloom because she was thinking she cannot do it or she's not good enough. And that's what I helped her go in this way. I helped her believe that she can do it, and I know she could, and she did it. The fact is, she did transform. I was very amazed, but I didn't know that I can do it in this way. And I use mentoring most of the time when I have experience in something that my client doesn't have, but I know that this experience that he needs to learn the skill to move forward. And it's better if I teach, if I mentor him to learn the skill, so he can move forward faster and he doesn't need to turn around and look for a solution. That's why I combine everything. I think if you do this pure coaching, which actually my school of thought, Noble Manhattan, does, you're a little bit limiting the growth of your client, because your client is a holistic human being. He needs all of the things. He needs to learn, so to be taught something. He needs to be guided, which comes with leadership and coaching. And he needs also those therapeutic, philosophical conversations to break free from what's old and what's holding him back. That's my definition of it. And why my coaching helps is I do a holistic approach. I do a holistic approach of well-being. I focus on 3 areas that I go with the foundation in performance, then integration, which you can describe as work-life integration from work and life in a way that's helpful for you and your business, and a fulfillment layer, which is the last one. The thing is, the fulfillment layer is connected to what's purposeful for you, what you want to leave as a legacy, and what drives your leadership. What's your vision, and who are you as a leader of the business, as a leader of your life? Because most of the time, business leaders, that's my target audience, which I mentioned also previously, we tend to identify ourselves with the business that we run. If the business is succeeding, we're feeling successful. If the business is failing, we feel as a failure, which is a problem. Every entrepreneur goes through this journey, and it's problematic because we put our identity with something that's actually not. Business is tangible, but it's not us. It's just our creation. And that's a normal process of creative people. Every creative person you meet is very attached to his creation, be it a book, be it a photograph, be it a painting. or a music piece. They're very connected to it. And when you connect yourself to something that's actually not you, but it's just created from you, you experience trouble because you cannot let it go. And when you start identifying yourself with it and something is going wrong, you're doomed to fall, which is the sad truth. And I don't want to see business leaders actually fail because of the fact that they lost their identity on the way. Because their business is something great, no matter how you look at it. We start a business not for profit most of the time. Yeah, the next business, the second one probably is for profit, but the first business you ever start is most of the time not for profit. You're thinking about providing for your family, but actually you target first something else. Autonomy, probably, when you come from the corporate world. You target also this power of being able to decide where to go and to notice when there is something stupid. Instead of making this stupid mistake, let's go and take another one, or create something. Some entrepreneurs want to create a solution for a problem that frustrates them, and that's fine, but it's most of the time, as you see, not profit. It's not the money. We're just targeting something else, either a problem or something that we actually want to relive in the world. And I think that's the important thing to connect business leaders again to in the purpose layer. And those three layers build for me the entrepreneurial well-being compass, or a well-being compass, like I say. Every entrepreneur or business leader goes through those layers step by step in different parts of his journey. And life and business need to adapt to one another and not go against each other. Most of the successful entrepreneurs I know, like Chris Donnery, for example, he now has a small kid on the way, newlywed with a small kid on the way, and he says, "I want to step back from the business now. Like, I'm very successful with the business and everything, but I want to step back. I want to step to the side. I want to spend more time to the family." And for me, the idea is the business doesn't need to be your prison, your sophisticated prison that doesn't allow you to do what you want to do. The business is just a tool for you to build a great life. Like, now he wants to focus on the business. He has a team that helps him and supports him, but he has time now for his family. He spends now more time with his family than with the business. So there are more examples like this. Chris Donnelly is not the first one and not the last one. Everyone goes through this same process at some point, and that's my idea. Business is the tool to make you happy, to amplify your life, and not to hold you back. Yeah, I noticed.
Yeah, do you know, there's a lot in what you said. I
Yeah.
think the part that I kind of wanted to talk about was the bit of identity. When you identify with what your job is, what your business is, and that becomes part of you, and it's almost like that's your baby, that's your heartbeat, and and I think that happens in people's careers as well. You identify with what your role is. So when things don't work, you take it personally, and you see that, and you identify anything that doesn't work as a failure either in terms of what you're doing or how you're doing it. You take it very personally, and I think that's also where like that coaching and mentoring and that almost like that life development is part of it. And it's interesting what you're also saying about Chris, wanting to now approach it in a different way, because I think when you start to have a family and you have children, that brings another different aspect to your life, which is challenging. and it will challenge you. And I kind of found that really difficult. I mean, I almost got dragged into being married because everybody else was getting married, and I thought, well, actually, maybe I ought to get on the bandwagon as well. But I've actually that journey has been amazing. But in some ways, I've gone kicking and screaming. And I think
Mm,
that once again, if I'd have had some advice or some coaching or, or other people, if I hadn't have been so like scared at times and frozen and to go and ask for questions, I think would have been, really helpful. So, and there were lots of elements in terms of you blending like therapy, coaching, and mentoring and the way you're doing it. I think is fantastic because the holistic approach is, work is part of it, your career is part of it, but actually you have a life outside of your career, you have other interests outside of it. And I think to see it as all of that, I think is really important. I just wanted to kind of sort of, you kind of talked about your way. And you've already had, I would say, you've created a little bit of legacy because of people that you've helped already. But so, what would you like to be able to look back on and say, this is the footprint that I left? What does that legacy look like?
that question is really interesting because I never thought about legacy, to be honest. I know that there is this aspiration we also as entrepreneurs have, that we want to leave something behind, something important. It doesn't matter if it's tangible, like if it's a business, if it's something running, or something we've built with our hands, or is it something like advice or some wisdom that we have shared with other people. We all aspire to this, and it's not really connected only to entrepreneurs. Everyone has this at some point of his life. Most of the time, it comes to the end of the life, which is normal. Because you, at the moment you feel that you achieved everything, or you achieved most of the thing you wanted to do, you start to look, well, what I will leave behind, what I will be remembered with. I still haven't reached that place, to be honest. But I know that people remember me, and that's enough. What people remember me by is that I'm the source that they needed for becoming the person who they need to be. And for me, that's absolutely enough, because to hear like, if you weren't for you, I wouldn't have become who I want to be. For me, that's absolutely enough. And hearing people talking about that, at first it was a little bit strange, to be honest, because I'm not used to be praised as much. But my clients do this. They are amazing, and they do this. And if that's what my legacy is, to leave those transformations, to make more people be able to become who they want to become, and then like share it with others. Sometimes they share it with their children, with their partners, and it transforms them in a way. For me, that's absolutely enough. That's what I want to leave, to leave behind me, those transformations. And I'm sure somebody will remember me, but after a while I will get forgotten, which is normal.
Yeah, yeah. Well, none of us live forever, but I kind of there's a lot in what you've said there. Is but I think even when you pass, you're still there. You're still there. People do remember you, and yes, obviously, as the years go past, and the people that you've helped transform have passed away, but even some of that wisdom, hopefully, has been, as you say, passed on to children, or maybe you might write a book or do something. But I think that's amazing. So how do we find you, Mira? Where if we're looking for help, where do we find you?
Uh, Currently, you will find me on LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn. I post every week, from like 4 times I try to post now. And yeah, just drop me a message there, and we can get going on a conversation.
Sure.
No worries. So yeah.
Yeah, excellent, excellent. I really like that. Just as we've got a few more minutes left, I just thought I'd open it out to the floor because I see we've got Evie and Linda. I don't know if you wanted to ask Mira any questions.
Feel free to drop mute of
Yeah.
mute. I want
Oh,
to
no.
ask something or find something interesting.
Good afternoon. It's
Hi.
Evie. Um, I've been listening quite interesting. I was about to leave a message as well on LinkedIn because I really need to leave. I'm watching the clock. But what I wanted to say is thank you for sharing. It's very important to share this type of stories because it allows for other people to become more open and more understanding as well. And Ludomira, the one important thing that I took from this is that when we start trying to fill in other people's shoes, especially our parents, things don't always turn out the way they hoped or we hoped. But luckily, the burnout did not become a lasting thing for you, and the whole story became like the reason why you are who you are today, the reason why you do the job, the work you do today. So, yeah, thank you very much for your time. And I'm sure we'll see each other around on LinkedIn for sure.
Looking forward. My pleasure. Thank you.
Take care. Thank you, Jeremy. Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. And I think that's the beauty of technology today is that you can touch. I mean, you're obviously in Bulgaria, but I think you can now. We have that ability to talk to anybody anywhere, and I think a lot of what you've talked about, Mira, has been very relevant for lots of people, and actually, as the interview's gone and the answer to the questions that you've answered and the way you've answered them, I've certainly learned a lot. And I think my approach is not dissimilar to yours. I probably don't go so much into the therapy side of things, but actually it's really interesting because I think there's lots of commonality, which is probably why we kind of have that connection together. So thank you very much. First guest, you've been a brilliant guest, and it's been really lovely to get you to know you a little better and a little deeper than I have before. So I'm just going to close things off now and say thank you once again, and anyone listening, if you don't know Mira now, then please do contact her on LinkedIn. And so thank you everybody for joining, and thank you once again, Mira.
Thank you, Jeremy, for being such a wonderful host and for the very provoking questions. To be honest, I love that. I enjoy them. I enjoy those deep questions. So yeah.
Great stuff. Okay, thank you everybody. Take care now.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Okay.